Welcome to the Combative Nerds Podcast. Join us while we break balls and try to outwit each other at every turn while debating all things nerdom and trying to make sense of this world. Look, I'm not gonna lie, there's a Herculean task and I'm not sure we have enough brain power to do so. At the very least, we can laugh and offend each other through the process. Thanks for sharing your day with us. Now on to our show. Welcome everybody to Combative Nerds. This is our B-side. We are going to now discuss episodes 4 and 5 of Kenobi. I first need to start off and give a big mea culpa to Reva. She's a badass. I'm sure her dreads are effervescent. And I like what she did. I get her childhood now. She had one of the slickest saber fights I've seen in a while.
Oh my God. So true. So true.
I just, I am not a big force push lightsaber fight guy. But the way she came out with those foot sweeps and the roll behind him. And I mean, he was almost, what was that scene? He has a spear. It was almost like the Shredder Ninja Turtle 1980s scene where Darth Vader was Shredder and he was just, like parrying, lifting up his foot to come over the Leonardo's slash. It was just just amazing choreography on that. Way better than I think The Last Jedi.
Sadly, yes.
Where she always did the double-handed stab. I couldn't stand that. But I will say Rev has that overhand chop. Not very effective. But passionate.
Vader has an overhand chop that usually, granted, he's, protected by plot armor. But
yeah,
his overhand chop is fairly decent.
Explain his armor to me. And how it can take a lightsaber hit.
Like his plot armor or his armor?
I don't know the difference.
Well, plot armor is, like Vader has to be alive, so he can't die in this series.
Sure.
Or Obi-Wan Kenobi can't suffer like a limb loss in this series.
I'm sorry.
That sort
plot. Okay, I apologize. Yeah. No, armor. Because he lost his hand when fighting Luke, right?
Yes, he loses his hand. Both of his hands are artificial, but yeah, he loses his hand.
Okay, so plot armor versus regular armor. Explain his armor to me.
I'll be honest, I do not know it in what is now considered canon.
Okay.
What I do know is it's easy to say he's taller than he would otherwise would be, but he is taller than he was before he was human, or when he was 100% human too.
Sure, he's a little tink.
Yeah, he's 2.5 feet tall, probably with he's just chilling.
He's like basically Pistorius.
He's 2 meters when he's in the suit. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I wish you could see it. He hates it when I talk about Vader like this.
No. It took me a couple seconds to remember Pistorius. Oh, Oscar Pistorius, the Blade Runner, who also shot his girlfriend.
Yeah, Tink. Yeah. Didn't force choke her.
Tink.
Shot her.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, my lady. I was scared. I didn't have my legs on. Like, something fishy about your story, bro.
Yeah, through the bathroom.
Shot your girlfriend like 6 times.
Yeah,
through the bathroom door.
Yeah.
You think probably after the first scream, you probably had an idea that maybe it wasn't a killer. Anyway, he's in jail now, right? He's got to be.
He got out because it's an African jail. And I think they have some type of, I'm going to be talking out of turn on this one. I believe it was because he physically couldn't handle the rigors of jail. In other words, he's disabled. So I don't know. He couldn't hang in there. And he's rich.
Choice of words.
Got commuted. Yeah, I'm sure
and he's a white South African in South Africa. So,
Yeah, I'm sure he probably had a rough go. Yeah.
Yeah. So what were we talking about? Oh, yeah.
Vader.
His suit. So let's see. He's taller. His boots are armored. His shoulders are armored. His chest plate his chest plate above his control panel is armored. And his helmet obviously is too. At least in the expanded universe, what I remember of his hands are they're called crush gaunts. They give him a grip strength that's considerably greater than a human being would have.
Jesus.
Courtesy of their mechanical nature. And I think Anakin makes that happen, or Vader, he's still a mechanical genius. So he tweaks them to be much stronger. His eyesight light is dimmed to him because his retinas are too damaged, and he gets, feedback, and he has a heads up display the entire time, but that's, color filtered. His breathing is obviously monitored. The control panel in front controls his vital functions. It's put in front purposely by Palpatine to give him a weakness, not necessarily
interesting.
It's sort of a test of his. It's a Sith test, but it's also just Palpatine being cruel. Palpatine purposely made his armor bad to hinder him, and make him have to be that much more powerful to overcome the hindrance of the armor. He could have had it updated, but he never did.
Interesting. I always okay. We're not going to be talking about episode 4 and 5 on this subject or this part, but how did he take the Emperor out so easily in return?
So in the story, it's that the Emperor was so devoted and, enjoying the soon-to-be murder of Luke Skywalker, that he didn't sense through the Force his apprentice's betrayal. So Vader just bodily lifted him up, because Vader is very physically strong, courtesy he's a cyborg.
Sure.
And took the brunt of the Force lightning, which is something he could never handle because his body's regulated by electrical components.
Sure.
So that's, from what I remember of reading, that's how Vader was quite literally able to toss him off or toss him over.
Interesting. So his weakness was the electronics, and that's what eventually killed him. So do you think Palpatine kept him like that to hit him with the Force lightning? Or
okay. Yeah, it was kept that way specifically. Force lightning is something he was always going to be susceptible to, or any disruption of electronics.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's something he could not do because of it. Although I'd seen one thing that said, yeah, he can do it. He's obviously able to do the technique, but he can't physically perform it without, damaging his own circuitry. But again, very much a deliberate choice by Palpatine to give him that weakness. And Luke Skywalker even says in Return of the Jedi, your pride is your weakness, your faith in your friends is yours.
Yes.
And it's very true. His pride was his weakness. He didn't think his apprentice would ever be able to betray him, at least not successfully.
Reminds me of Snoke's and what's his face. Like, that was an easier way to go, but how do you not see that? And was that an homage to the Emperor having the lightsaber on the throne?
Probably, yeah, but it's tough to know with the director of that one. Just he went left. He zigged or he zagged, whichever one he wanted to do.
Okay.
But we can or we can never discuss. Yeah.
Let's get back to episode 4 and 5. So again, mea culpa to Reva. She's a badass. What do you think about the episodes?
So obviously I loved 5, but if we go back to 4, 4 I liked, but I had some problems with it. So the PTSD that Obi-Wan experiences, and not the least of which is having to be submerged in a bacta tank to heal the almost the same wounds to a lesser extent that Vader suffered. I enjoyed seeing the Imperial base, I think on Moon, which is in the Jedi Fallen Order. I enjoyed seeing the culture of an Imperial base on that scale. You've seen the Death Star before, but this was, another planet, and to see how it was organized. I did not enjoy how simply they infiltrated the base.
Sure.
And
well, she had the creds, right?
At one point, yeah, she does, but at one point she chokes out. Like her a superior officer, not hers, like, I don't know, 15 feet from, the other technicians, and no one notices. Are there no cameras? Are there no heat sensors? This is it's got future tech. It might have been a long time ago in a galaxy far away, but they do have they do have laser swords and space travel. They probably are able to do like a thermal scan.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought there were some plot holes there. The big one being like when Obi-Wan is shuttling like Leia, who's hidden under his coat. Like, really? Like, no one? Like, okay, if maybe Reva engineered this entire thing so that they would get away and she needed to make it just hard enough to do it. I'm like, all right. But no one in the base would be like, excuse me, why do you have 4 legs and a goiter on your hip? Why are you the only bearded person in this entire base?
Yeah.
Something seems out of regulation. But that said, what was cool to me about that episode mostly were the cinematography callbacks to other points in the series. And this is laced throughout the whole season so far. Now, of course, I haven't watched it in a week, so I can't quite remember all of the ones, but it was enough for me to, okay, so one of the first ones is when Obi-Wan is being, he's on a stretcher and taken to the Bacta tank. His point of view is not identical, but very much analogous to the point of view of Padme when she's going to give birth to Leia and Luke.
Interesting.
And another's point of view, third person view of Obi-Wan is very similar to Vader being carried on a stretcher to the Imperial Palace, the surgery room,
right,
or the surgery suite. And then, of course, the submersion in the Bacta tank, and we can say that's Luke, we can say that's Vader.
Yep.
There's plenty of people in Bacta tanks by this point.
Boba Fett.
So there was that, and then there's a shot of, oh man, I can't remember her name. Taya, the Imperial traitor, the double agent.
Tala, yeah.
Her comlink is left she leaves her comlink on the table. That's almost an identical shot to in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. C-3PO leaves his comlink on the table, right. And that's why he's unable to communicate with Luke, Leia, and Han as they're getting crushed in a trash compactor. So that sort of thing I really enjoyed, but...
I gotta stop you.
Oh, yeah?
Jurassic Jedi? What the hell was that?
Jurassic Jedi? Oh.
Yeah, where they were all stuck in the amber.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell? And why didn't he free them, asshole?
I think they're dead.
So they just froze them in carbonite or froze them in amber?
Not sure. Carbonite's dark, but I think they're dead, and I would suggest that they're trophies.
I mean, I got the trophy vibe, but I was torn between, was this a throwback to the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Collector, where he just had them as a zoo?
I could see that.
Or are these cadavers that are just stuffed? There had to be a button. There had to be a button there that might be able to unfree some of these people, and he didn't try any of them. And he had a room full of potentially Jedis, or
I'm guessing. So these are all good points.
Jedi zombies.
And I hadn't thought about them, but I'm guessing they were dead, which is why you probably wouldn't try to rescue them. Because if they had not been dead, he would have probably tried to rescue them, especially the kid. I mean, Obi-Wan's not going to.
Kid couldn't have helped much in that fight. He already had one.
He's already trying to rescue a kid. I'm sure that Obi-Wan Kenobi would have been like, okay, I'll get this one too. Had he had the chance.
Man, that's dark.
So yeah,
trophy room.
So, but a cool concept if you're, you're the emperor. Yeah, if you're the emperor if you're Palpatine. Yeah, if I was a sadistic son of a bitch, I would probably keep a trophy room to honor my greatest triumph. Yeah, so episode 4, more than anything, as much as I liked it and the problems that I had with it, it definitely had the filler feel. And once you see episode 5, you realize why, because episode 5 is fucking great.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah, that was heartstring pulling.
Dude, yeah.
They even had the mech. I mean, even that was a heartfelt death for him, the loader.
Sure, yeah.
It was very, very reminiscent to The Mandalorian. The nurse droid, just protecting.
Oh yeah,
last breath or whatever.
I think IG-99. Yeah, great scene.
Yeah, there you go. I was a little thrown off though. All right, so let's discuss Kenobi thinking he's going to turn Reva, and he in fact does. I don't see that plan working.
I don't think he turns Reva. I think he just discovers or deduces why she's there. and then decides like, I can help you do that if you give me the chance to get away. Because she does not care about, the Empire, or maybe she does care, but ultimately she doesn't care about Kenobi other than bait. The one problem, so in the beginning when she kneels and Vader names her Grand Inquisitor, my thought was, isn't this a little fast? I don't like this plot development. Only later did it make sense? Like, oh, that was a complete setup. Like he's known who she is the entire time.
So, how? I'm by it.
Anakin is really smart.
Okay, Anakin's smart.
He also has.
How does he not?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
How does he not butcher a kid and not remember, or accidentally? Like, in other words, she lay there with the dead bodies, right? How does he not know she's not awake? He would sense that she's.
She has an identity in the Force too. Of course, he's telepathic. He's telepathic. He can read emotions. He's also really smart.
Sure.
He can look at Jedi archives. The information, it makes, at least to me, like you could explain it away pretty easily in universe to where, sure, yeah, he gets it.
Okay.
I mean, Force sensitives are pretty rare, so it's not often you're going to find a Force sensitive. Who knows? She could have been in the bowels of Coruscant, be like, hey.
Okay, true.
You're about the right age to have survived Order 66. You seem to have you seem to have basic lightsaber training. There's only one place you'd have gotten that.
What was the benefit to using Reva? Because it did not seem like she brought... Well, okay. She put the tracker, so they found the base.
Uh-huh.
They found the path. Granted. Why could Vader not have done that himself? And how was promoting her after that beneficial to him?
It gets her to trust him. So this is all the sort of analysis that you, with your education, will go through. I will sit back and be like, gosh darn, that was a great lightsaber fight. I will,
True.
And I never will analyze the entertainment media that I view, at least much beyond this. But anyway.
Because I see him promoting her. I see her being rewarded to being more diligent for the task at hand. And that may be giving her the impetus or the encouragement to fulfill on it. I understand that she doesn't truly care about the plan. She wants to get Vader in a
room alone.
Weakened. Yeah. But I don't see him as baiting her or permitting it. I just don't see that if he would have disposed of her instead of sending her down or instead of trying to capture Kenobi, none of that would have helped him. None of it would have helped. And in other words, if he would have disposed of her or left her on the base with Fifth Brother, he would have been in the same position. So how did it help him to send her down there to try to capture? Is it just she
can take the
made
brunt
her a
of the
foot
rebel
soldier?
Yeah, I can see that. Takes the brunt of the rebel attack, clears out, not that he obviously could, clears out a lot of separates the chaff from the wheat, clears out a lot of the foot soldiers, takes the attack. If she dies, it's nothing to him because, to your point,
Jesus
knows where he is.
Yeah.
And if she fights Kenobi, and if she lives, she's guaranteed to lead him there.
Okay, true.
And if she fails, she'll still, if he understands why she's there and what she wants, which is him dead, and via Kenobi, that thing, it would make sense to let her set that up. Because if Kenobi kills her, he still knows where she is. And if she tries to betray him, he already expects it. So he's constantly on guard for it.
Her attack. Could she have timed it better? Could she have...
There was zero ways she would have come out of that.
Okay, so I just think the Braveheart attempt... Yeah. I don't see that helping her at any stretch.
He's telepathic. He can sense minds before they come to him. He can sense her through the Force. He just got done ripping a starship out of the sky and then ripping its hull apart.
Awesome.
Fucking insane, right? I liked the starship out of the sky. I really liked him ripping the hull apart.
I did not like bringing the starship down. He's not that strong. I did like ripping of the hull. It reminded me of the original... what was the first Star Wars video game
Unleashed.
where you could... Yes, Force Unleashed.
Pulls the Star
just the
Destroyer
crush and the pull.
Yep.
Totally reminded me of that.
Mm.
That was fantastic.
Mm.
How come he? Okay, so one, how come he couldn't pull the second one down? Got too far away.
I guess, yeah, that's kind of what I was going with.
Too tired.
Yeah, I'm thinking that like he was A, surprised, and B, like it just went a lot faster. That's kind of what I thought. Like, oh, they were ready as soon as he. But also, I assume they knew that if Vader was there, he would super attack it. What if that hadn't worked? What if, like, the first ship had gotten away and he hadn't done anything? What would the second ship have done? Like, because he would eventually realize, like, first of all, there's a ship there, and second of all, let me reach out with the Force. Yeah, it's full of people.
Yeah, that was.
I'm gonna fuck someone up now.
I would have thought Vader would have sensed who was in the ship.
Yeah.
Right.
But if he's blind, so like with
blinded with rage,
yeah, with the flashback, if he's too focused on his victory, he's not going to pay attention to other stuff, which is the whole purpose of the lightsaber fight.
True. I thought
that's exactly what he did.
I thought the CGI could have been better on Christensen's face. That's pretty rough.
I don't think so. I'm gonna do one better. I don't think they use CGI. I think that's just stage makeup because 100%. That's someone my age, or he's older than me, but that's someone my age. Kenobi looks better being a full 15 years older than Christensen. Like Ewan McGregor's, I think 60 or thereabouts. Hayden Christensen.
No.
Yes, swear to God, I'll look it up right now.
No.
Yeah. I agree. But he
looked rough.
Christensen?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, he looked rough. I was like, man, bring out your tackle box and your air compressor.
Okay, so I stand back. 51 years. Hayden Christensen is my age. I do not.
Yeah, that would have been CGI. You know, if they could do it for Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker,
I would have expected them to de-age him a smidge, but they did not. But
they didn't.
I agree. Like you're like,
give him a beard.
Yeah, like
cover up the crow's feet a little bit. Put some Bondo. Put some stage tape.
Like, bro, you ain't 20. I'm not buying it. You're supposed to be probably like 17 or 18 in that scene. You're like a World War I 18.
That's awesome. You're like storming the beaches of Normandy.
Yeah, you're like, yeah. But that said, it's awesome to see Hayden Christensen back, and I didn't like that they showed it necessarily, but I liked that they showed that Darth Vader, that Anakin Skywalker, soon after he turned to Darth, he's still human, or not cyborg, was an absolute monster who murdered children, not just suggested it, but is shown cutting down kids when they're completely defenseless and stabbing a 10-year-old girl in the chest with, a look of utter fear on her face, and he just stabs her, which he would do about 10 years later anyway.
How did she not die from that?
As the Grand Inquisitor says, rage can do wonders for one's will to live. Vader, the Grand Inquisitor, and now Reva. I'm guessing Reva twice. How much would it suck in your life, just as a person, if all the choices you made had led to, when you're 10 years old, I'm assuming, getting stabbed in the chest by Darth Vader, and then when you're 20, getting stabbed in the chest by Darth Vader, pretty much the same way. Like, I've had bad things happen to me twice, the same thing twice.
Yeah, kids.
And definitely the I only have one child. And the thought definitely occurred at some point, like, fuck, again?
Yeah.
That at least some small version of that had to happen. Like, Jesus Christ, this shit?
So, your mother, marine biologist, correct?
No, she's military intelligence.
Oh, how the fuck did I get?
I don't know how you got marine biologist, but she'd be pleased.
I thought you were into the ocean and snorkeling. I thought she always took you down to the beach and because she was a marine biologist.
No. She's military intel. I just really like the beach. I always wanted to move to California because I wanted to live next to the beach.
Okay, well, I apologize.
And I just really liked that. It's cool. It's no skin off my back.
So here's my connection. I have met people who become shark experts and study sharks because they were attacked by one. I've known people who, become police officers because something horrific happened or they want to serve their community. So you almost get bit by the monster that you need to understand why that monster attacked you. So you can take control of that situation, right? So you can have some semblance of control with your ego. Reva decided to go dark side, whether out of necessity or survival, and became what she hated most.
Oh, good point.
How do you justify the butchering and murdering of your own kind, similar to, Jews in Auschwitz, just to take out the head guy? Wouldn't you think? I mean, they're on the path. They're basically doing the Harriet Tubman story. They're hunting all these families down.
Okay, I see I see your point. So it's not a trope, but it's definitely a theme in lots of, just stories over time of someone who becomes, and it's frequent in Star Wars, of someone who becomes so focused on one thing that they become willing to do anything else to achieve it. The ends justify the means. And usually...
Nietzsche. Okay.
Sure. It happens in, I think it's the Plato's Republic, where Ulysses is attempting, or Ulysses, the scenario is Ulysses is talking to, I can't remember who it was. Ulysses very much has the ends justify the means, and his counterpoint in the discussion is suggesting not. And to what end are you willing to go to satisfy, or to what mean are you willing to sacrifice to satisfy the end? That can, lots of times in different stories, and certainly here, differentiate the good from the bad. Luke Skywalker is unwilling to kill his father because those means do not justify the end. And he suffers for it, but you know the story.
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker was willing to kill anyone in order to save his wife, until he became that which he'd sworn to destroy, which is the Sith. And he did it really fast, and that's, kind of a weakness in the storytelling for me, but
I still don't like how he was redeemed.
Yeah, at some point you have to...
This Vader, the one that we all know and love, is irredeemable.
I would support that decision. It makes a better story for the tragic hero story arc, and that's one of my favorite things about the saga, is the tragic hero story arc. I think it's just a really well-told tragic hero story. But yeah, I agree. So, he's had a fairly heavy hand in killing at least a planet. He started off his career by murdering an entire village of sand people.
That wasn't bad.
Not just the men, but the women and the children too.
They supported their men. They supported their men.
Yeah, ride or die. He killed a bunch of kids. Whole bunch of kids.
Well,
just cuz. And, not for, the one thing he wanted to do was save his wife, and the first person to hurt her was him.
Yeah.
So, he had Obi-Wan not been there, he probably would have force choked his wife to death. And their unborn child.
I don't remember him.
That's Kenobi. The first time that's the first. Yeah, he comes down, and so Anakin gets pissed off because, among other things.
Oh, he thought they were cheating.
Brought Kenobi.
Yeah.
No. I think that would have made a stronger story, just from a storytelling perspective. Not that I'm anybody. He believes that he stowed away on her ship. He didn't. She had no idea. She goes to Mustafar to see Anakin and try to go away with him and save him, even though it's kind of a weird choice at that point. We're like, if my husband, if I find out tomorrow that he's murdered a school of children and adults, I'm not going to be like, hey, let's just go to Acapulco, start fresh. You've done your thing. We've all made mistakes. Let's just start.
Yeah.
There's going to, I'm sorry, you don't get to pass go anymore. Anyway, so Obi-Wan shows himself on the gangplank of the ship, or the boarding ramp, and Anakin sees him. He's like, "Fuck you! You brought him here to kill me." And she's like, no, I didn't know he was here. And he gets mad and he chokes her.
That's right.
Calls her a
And then
liar.
she passes out. And
And then she's sad, so she dies. I wish they'd have gone with like, there's too much damage to her throat and her trachea. We got to save the babies. But instead it was, she lost the will to live. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Lazy storytelling.
Okay. Like you could, one or two lines change would have been fine. Her throat's damaged and it fucked up her hyoid process. Obviously, it's not good writing. And, we're unable to save it. She's been out without oxygen too long. Sorry. Something.
What about she just died on the table giving birth? I could see that.
Fine. Her body had been through too much trauma.
Sure.
Fine.
Sure. She couldn't handle. She saved her amazing body, saved the babies. Something. Well,
yeah, sure.
She's gorgeous too, but.
Oh, Natalie Portman's fantastic. And smart.
Is she?
Really smart. Yeah, she's NYU grad.
Those Israelis, man. They're different breed.
Oh, that's right, she is.
Yeah.
What were we talking about before this? We were just kind of on Vader.
Becoming what you hate.
Okay, so I have to. Yeah, exactly, and that's a pretty common, or it's a repeated theme. And they've often said the stories are supposed to rhyme, and they very much do, especially if you're J.J. Abrams. But the becoming what you hate, and in Ben Solo's case, redeeming himself from what becoming someone good, and in essence becoming what he'd hated. Yeah, it's just a good story arc to have. Like, it's a relatable thing. It asks the reader the question, to what length would you go to achieve this? And to what length would you not go? So, to relate this to a personal experience, my sister died when I was 10.
Sorry.
That's a pretty traumatic thing. Yep. I don't have a talk about it, but, regardless, there is very little I would not do to either bring her back or just to see her again for probably a short amount of time. And at least I think there's not a whole lot I wouldn't do. There's nothing I wouldn't steal if I knew I'd have the chance.
Of course.
The only things that would give me pause now are, would I lose my relationship with my family, my daughter, my husband, etc. But so, I have roadblocks, impediments to what I would do to achieve something I would consider, precious. In this case, in fiction, Anakin Skywalker has none.
Well,
and he ruins it in the process.
It is interesting. The becoming what you hate, you are the maker of your own nightmare. And what happens is once you cross that line, and I would think with his level of ego, you almost can't take it back. At some point, it's not narcissism, but at some point, when you become what you hate, and you can't believe it's you. Does that make sense?
So in a way, I agree with what you're saying. At least in the realm of Star Wars, Vader very much thinks it was him. He thinks he killed his wife and that she died because of his choke. And
he thinks that. I thought they told him Kenobi.
No, he thinks that he killed him. He blames Kenobi for making him a limbless.
I didn't catch
making
that.
him a quadriplegic. But he believes, and this is more in the comics and everything, he believes that, and books, Vader believes that he killed his wife because that's what Palpatine said. So to your point, and I thought you said it well, you become the architect of your own nightmare. And Vader very much believes that. So much of his life is his anger at himself, his guilt, his just got to be infinite sadness. And what's his outlet to that? Fear, anger, aggression. His outlet is hate. And there's it's sort of a dream sequence, or it's expanded universe now, non-canon. But he has a fight with Darth Maul and
Vader.
Yeah, and it's in a comic book, and I can't remember reading the whole thing, but there's one scene in which Maul impales Vader, and Vader does like the badass thing, like in a movie or something when you get stabbed, is you pull yourself along the blade. And it's like, no, fuck you. And Maul is saying, you could never, be deeper in the dark side than I am. What could you possibly hate enough? And Vader pulls himself on the lightsaber to get in Maul's face and says, myself. And then of course he kills him. So yeah, So you become the architect of your own nightmare. And the one thing I'll say, because I know we're over long, the lightsaber fight was fantastic. He's just so utterly dominant. And the way that he just uses the Force to just control the entire thing. Like, just when he raises her hand and just pushes her away. Granted, her control of the Force is good too, because she doesn't get knocked into a wall or something like that. But when she's rotating the lightsaber, he just controls it, brings it to his hand, snaps it in two, and then tosses it to her with contempt. Fantastic. It's just so good.
Okay, so Darth Maul is the gold standard, right? Lightsaber feeds, right?
Darth Maul's awesome.
Everything other than that, I wasn't a big fan. I was a fan of the Return of the Jedi, the last scene, but that's just because I was a little kid and I thought that was amazing.
Oh, sure. When the choral music starts and
exactly.
It becomes, the choreography isn't great, but you can see like the anger and the hatred come out, which, it's cool.
I think it was
for a story.
One of the most realistic sword fights. I think they were saying most choreographed. Everything else is a little bit more wushu-ish and acrobatic.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of lightsaber spins,
sure,
which is awesome to see for sure.
But I gotta say, Reva just killed it when I heard. I think you said this, where she had to go to Jedi school.
Yeah, she was a Padawan.
No. I thought you meant in production, where she had to go learn to be a Jedi.
Yeah, Moses Ingram. Yeah, she mentioned that you have to go to Jedi Academy, Jedi training camps to learn these things.
The sword skill, I'm assuming.
Yeah, sword skill, movement, and everything. Yeah,
I get it now. That was some trained martial art acrobats that I was.
Her movement.
I'd break my ankles doing what she was doing.
I loved it when like Vader blocks her a little bit and just fucking kicks her in the shin to like disrupt her balance a little bit, and then just force pushes her again. I thought it was like, you never see Vader just use a physical move like that. It's always lightsaber fights and telekinesis.
Yeah.
He just fucking kicks her.
It was absolutely amazing.
You never see that physicality. Obi-Wan does it, and like Grievous does it.
Sure.
But you very rarely see that physicality, and this time it's like, no, I'm just going to savagely kick you with my giant Arwok boot.
Exoskeletons.
I'm a full foot and a half taller than you, and exceptionally strong, and virtually invincible compared to you in the Force. I'm just going to kick you.
So, it's not a comm link. The communicator that Reva picks up for Luke.
Yeah.
Where is this going?
Good point. I mean, because they end on the shot of Luke sleeping. I'm really bad at predicting stuff like this. So we know a few things that, plot armor. Luke has to grow up.
Sure.
And he grows up in the same home he is already in. Vader can't know it's him because he doesn't learn about that his son is alive until after A New Hope. I'm just really bad at predicting. The only thing I could pick up on that when it was, pretty obvious was Reva is a Padawan, or was. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? You're better at analysis than I am like this.
What I'm getting stuck on in the plot is the Senator Bail Organa. He's not supposed to be communicating, right, with Kenobi for Leia.
Yeah.
So she has that. She can now make that connection. I don't know if Vader understands who they kidnapped, Leia Organa.
He can't. Or even if he understands who Leia Organa is, he would have no idea that she's his daughter. True,
but he would know that the Senator is in cahoots with Kenobi. Because why is Kenobi going to save her?
Yeah, good point. Well, does he know that Vader is saving? Yeah, probably he would. If he knows that Rev is a youngling, then sure.
Well, he would know that Kenobi came to save Leia, right? He was sent in. So I see that as being a plot hole. I see that as, whether he found that communicator or that, little message, comm link. I don't think he saw that. I think Reva found it.
Agreed. Because there's a, like, it's a pointed, like, it's definitely, they show you that he loses that communicator.
Sure.
In the sand.
So, yeah, I'm not sure. Unless, how else are they going to hide Leia's identity? I don't see them being able to.
I have faith in the storytelling ability, episode 4 notwithstanding. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm just looking forward to finding out. I hadn't really thought of the Leia link because they then shifted their focus completely to Luke. So I'm guessing it has to go to Tatooine somehow.
Sure.
There's going to be some definite. I think Owen's going to come back again to really cement that dislike of Jedi and his fierce overprotection of Luke, because he loves him as a son and he understands who he is. I mean, he's literally his stepnephew. I guess at that point it'd just be nephew. So in the books, Kenobi feels that he is safe and Luke is safe on Tatooine because Vader would never return to Tatooine because it's one of the sources of his greatest pain in his life.
Oh, okay.
That book is no longer canon, so I have no idea.
What the fuck?
But it's a...
How do they do that?
Who knows?
You can't be canon?
I don't know where the dividing line came.
Jesus.
I'm guessing it's pre-Disney, post-Disney. But it's a big knife.
Yeah.
But I don't know what reason. I would imagine... And then they break that because he goes back to Tatooine in the comic books. And he, just for funsies, also slaughters another village of Tuskens.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it seems like... Yeah, it fits. So yeah, I don't know. I think Vader has to go to Tatooine because I think there's going to be that setup of the conflict of like, oh shit, he's close to Luke. Oh shit, he's close to Luke. But at some point he gets converted or something like that, or maybe makes, one of the classic Anakin Skywalker faux pas, gets his pride in the way or focuses too much, and then is drawn away from, how close he became. That would be kind of a good story element, right? Or how close he came to nabbing Luke.
I am not looking forward to there only being one episode. This easily could be
also,
another.
I think Reva should die. I think Reva should die doing something noble. Sort of expected, but I want her to.
Didn't she already?
Maybe. She's alive.
How did Vader miss 2 marks?
Twice?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
think usually once you get stabbed with a lightsaber, probably the stabber's like, yeah, that's probably good. But
twice.
I mean, yeah. But Vader's fairly good. Like, you would think at some point, Vader's probably fairly good proof. If you put 2 seconds of thought into it, like, well, I got all my limbs chopped off and I fell into a river of lava.
True.
And here I am. So
true.
Maybe she's okay too.
Well, self-sealing, right? The laser brain?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give
instantly
it to her.
cauterized. But still, like, even if you cauterize it, there's a lot of shit right there in the chest cavity. Yeah. It's a fairly good spot to stab.
Yeah, I would think so. Between the lungs and the heart.
Yeah. Also, I look like Hayden Christensen old in this light.
Weather.
Oh, man. Fuck. It's rough, dude. It's just rough. I'm like, you're so good looking. And I talked to my mom about I thought he was kind of hot. I'm like, well, you are 66 years old. So, sure.
That's it. That's our show. Join us next time for episode 3, where, quite frankly, I'm not sure what we'll be talking about, but there's a pretty good chance I'm going to be shitting all over my kids. Please do us the favor, like, subscribe, share this podcast so we can get some traction. Once I get around to it, check us out on our socials. Combative Nerds on Patreon, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You know the deal. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you next episode.